Good day, beautiful soul family, and welcome back to Miracles Beneath the Surface. And as we are in the midst of such critical times especially, let us glean off of this wonderful time, meaning let's make this time momentum and giving God all the honor and glory and praise in Yeshua's name. I'm taking a look at this clip, and I got this on TikTok. And, it just looks so beautiful. It's, got a beautiful black swan. And, the fishes are either carrying this black swan and back and forth. And, on the surface, we're like, wow, wait. Usually we see white swans, online or whatever. And it's just so amazing how this beautiful black swan is just so very unique. It's definitely, we're witnessing the beauty of our Heavenly Father's creation. Now we also are seeing these goldfish, and these fish that are massive even, but we're seeing how there's carrying back and forth. Now this clip has different levels to it. Why? What are we looking at? Well, we're looking at how not only is the fish are surrounding this beautiful black swan, but also we're understanding that this black swan that's being surrounded by these fish, look on another level, this swan is feeding the fish. Now you may think, well, that's so nice, that's so precious. I love animals, right? Yeah, I love animals too. But what we're also noticing is something of an imbalance. You see, we're seeing a multitude of fish that are hungry. They're gathering like piranhas in the sight of fresh meat. And this should be alarming to us. You see, there's an imbalance in the water, and it's caused by companies that do their dumping. It's caused by even us when we pollute into the ocean and think that nothing is going to come back up. It's caused by companies that are trying to keep up with supply and demand where we're eating abominable things. See, it's brought out in Leviticus chapter 11. It states, "And all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters and all of life," it says, "and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you." Continuously is showing that it should be seen as an abomination. But we still ingest these things. I myself have love for seafood, but I had to cut that away in reading the scriptures. Our waters used to be so beautiful and rich with a beautiful, vibrant color and everything, but now we're seeing how there's so much that's decaying. When we see the multitude of fish that are hungry, they're hungry because their resources are depleting or very much gone. According to the different frequencies that are happening beneath the surfaces as well, we're seeing a lot of fish coming to the surface dead. This should be alarming to us. We should really say, okay, what is really going on? See, in the land, we're seeing a famine. But what we're seeing here even more is that there is a famine beneath the surface. Again, as we're harvesting off of the very foods such as shrimp and lobsters and squids and clams and all these other stuff that Leviticus states is not clean unto us. These are the very things that are cleaning up the sea. These are the very things that are part of the food source that our Heavenly Father has created for them. See, when we go and do what we want to do, and take in abominable things in our bodies, which our Heavenly Father sees as toxic, we are bringing forth an imbalance. In my other video, it's so interesting because it's like when you are reaching for a world of tribulation, you yourself brings forth tribulation. And so, well, what do fish eat? Well, they eat algae, they eat worms, they eat all types of things. They eat insects, they eat other fish, crustaceans. They eat these things. But the shrimp and the lobster, they clean up. They are known as the insects of the sea. They eat up the garbage. They eat up the pollution. Now, sadly enough, as seen in these pictures, when there is an overburden of pollution being dumped by companies, and when there are other companies taking up the harvest of the shrimps and the squids and the lobsters, how in the world are we able to keep the ocean clean? You see, it's okay for us to eat of the fish that have fins and scales, but for everything else is an abomination unto us. I go back to reading in verse 11. It says, they shall be even an abomination unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, but ye shall have their carcasses in abomination. Whatsoever hath no fins nor scales in the waters, that shall be an abomination unto you. See, our Heavenly Father created everything. And everything and everyone has purpose. And when we are able to glean of the scriptures, which is inspired by our Heavenly Father, we are able to have good teachings. We are able to heed the warnings, glean the wisdom. And as we're doing that, we're not bringing forth hindrances to our sea waters. It's so sad. I even seen how animals are starving, especially with these flash floods. They're dying off. But see, the animals are going through that famine as well. They're going through famine. They're going through pollution. Their habitat is polluted. Beautiful soul family. What the Lord was showing me, I did this video, I recorded it. For some reason, it didn't record, and so I'm doing this again. But the thing about it is that the Lord was showing me that for companies that they dump into the waters, which cause massive spills. But there are other companies that do this, and they go on about their way. And the Lord was showing me that if they can easily dump in the waters and cover that up, just so they can make their quotas or their surpluses. These pictures may seem disturbing. It's about us being aware. Really opening up our eyes to see just how horrible all this is. So when we see this nice little clip with this beautiful swan being surrounded by the fish, and the swan is feeding the fish, we have to say to ourselves, this shouldn't be. You may say to yourself, well, I'm not polluting. I'm not bringing forth a havoc to the sea. But I think that when we're looking at this and we're becoming aware, it's about us saying, well, you know what? I'm going to be the change that I long to see. I'm going to do what Leviticus 11 verses 10 to 13 says, or 10 to 12 says, I am not going to take any abominations into my body. I am not going to buy foods that are shrimp and squids and lobsters. I'm going to make sure that I buy the very things that do not pollute our waters. Because, beautiful soul family, there's a lot of things that are drying up. And sadly enough, when we no longer have these things, is when we begin to truly miss them. Beautiful soul family, you may say, well, I don't pollute. But if we can bring forth those small changes in our life, maybe we'll be able to know how to take care and bring back the waters, the oceans, the seas, back to how it's meant to be. So, beautiful soul family, I thank you so much, and I ask that you continue to be aware, so that when we are able in our own life to bring forth a little change, we know that it's making a big difference. Have a beautiful and wonderful day, and God bless. Beautiful soul family, if you have enjoyed today's message, I am so thankful that it has reached your heart, which is my audience. Beautiful soul family, I'll also ask that you please, if you haven't done already, subscribe, hit the like button, and share this message. I'm sure there are other people out there who just need an encouragement to go on through the rest of their day, or wherever they're finding themselves in their life. Sometimes, we go through forks in the road, and it's usually that kind word, that message of enlightenment even, that helps us to make wise decisions before we move forward. I also encourage you to donate. I have the information in the description box, but I also have it right here. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful and wonderful day. God bless.